wins today, friend. No wins. So they're just taking aim and getting after it. But yeah, damn. Have yourself a day, Mr. Munoz. That's no way to start the show. That was unscripted. I wasn't trying to do that. I know that we have audio, and I'm excited about said audio, in which Jim Phillips, speaking at the ACC kickoff, or at ACC meetings, I should say. Kickoffs later on in July when we go to Charlotte. I look forward to that.
We'll be on Radio Row for that one.
The ever exciting Radio Row. Yeah, we will. We will. But you know, I don't know about you, and we'll play some of this. But I thought, you know, the high praise for the calculated ways and clarity with which Jim Phillips was said to have dealt with delicate issues while at Northwestern and all throughout his time there, and trying to convince the donors of that school that is largely built around and centers around academia to invest in athletics and then make a state-of-the-art facility for their football program was what people were excited about when he became the commissioner of the ACC, that he was able to win the hearts and minds of people who might be on the other side of the aisle from major endeavors, things that they thought were very important to do. And he was a politician in that sense, but very convincing, very, very smart guy. And I think that came across in his 30-minute press conference yesterday. I thought he was insightful. I thought he handled the questions well, and I thought he sounded like a guy that has a plan. I didn't expect to hear a guy who sounded like he had a plan. He does.
He also, to me, like in those first 15 minutes or so, sounded like a dude who has FML over his head. Like, what do you want from me? Basically, it's like, what do you want
in the
from
beginning?
me? Yeah. Because there are limitations that no 30-minute press availability to Amelia Island are going to fix. Like, he doesn't have the answer that everybody's looking for, but he has strategies to help navigate, at least in the interim, until there are greater answers, maybe for the sport of college football from a different committee or from the NCAA at large. But by the end of it, he spoke with a little bit more vigor about some things that could be coming down the pike, which I thought was interesting.
Well, one of the reasons that I appreciated him was the transparency with which he spoke. I can't speak today. It's not Wednesday, Jeff. It's Thursday. And that is that, look, when he's talking about even just the scheduling model and changing it, you know, and people were asking, well, what's the time frame? When will you know? And, you know, they're pushing that. He's like, he basically told you the coaches and the presidents and the athletic directors have agreed to basically go to that 3-5-5 model that we talked about. But he wanted to speak with ESPN. He didn't even sugarcoat that. He's like, well, we want to talk with our business partners, our television partners. It's a 50-50 relationship. We want to speak with them. Yeah, basically, we want to find out, is this going to help us make more money? I'm going to ask ESPN. That's what he basically told you. Okay, good. Because there's no need to sugarcoat any of this. Any decision the ACC makes about their headquarters, about where to play the damn basketball tournaments in the future, about schedule models, you name it, has to be centered around revenue, has to be centered around ways to grow revenue. He didn't beat around the bush with that. He basically said, yes, we have to explore and talk with ESPN, our television partner, our 50-50 partner, ways to help generate revenue. That's a quote unquote ways to generate revenue. You're damn right. That's what you're tasked to do now, is get us out from under this massive weight, which is not allowing the schools in this conference and will not allow the schools in this conference to compete long term. They have to rid themselves of this and give themselves every opportunity to be, if not on equal footing, something close to. And so I don't know. Swafford wouldn't have done that. You wouldn't have heard that. He would have mealy-mouthed this whole damn thing and never told you a thing. He would have told you that there was no call for schedule remodeling, that there is nothing at this time. He never said anything. So you at least had a guy who, first time he gets before the assembled press at this meeting, and he's like, yeah, we got to talk with ESPN to figure out ways to make more money. Our schedule changes that we've talked about the last 2 days that have been written about. Yeah, you know, read between the lines here. The coaches agree with it. I agree with it. We want to do it. Let's talk with ESPN. Thank you. Thank you. let's go. Let's do that. So there was that, and he did talk about that. He talked also about the possibility of sort of a subdivisions, I think is the way that he described it. And I think that's smart too. I'm glad he didn't lament or sound in any way forlorn about the direction of college football. I've heard a lot of that over the last several months. We all have. It doesn't do you any good. As you have noted, Tom, they're not putting the genie back in the bottle. There's no going back, and he knows that. There just has to be some regulatory body, enforcement arm of the NCAA, something that allows for folks to adhere to unilateral rules where everybody is operating under the same guidelines, which they are currently not. You can't compete when nobody knows what the rules are.
Well, and that's the problem. He had back-to-back statements in which he said, we need federal legislation. It's not a priority for them.
They're not coming.
Right.
They're not coming to save the day.
Help is not coming. So if it's left to the conferences and you've got different rules among different conferences, that still presents issues. But I think what he's looking for is empowerment. He's on that not the oversight committee. The transformation committee with the NCAA, which has some radical ideas.
Yes.
Like
we
taking
talked about
off,
it last week.
Yes, cap limits on staffs, which is crazy to me. That feels like that would be a very SEC and Big Ten talking point and not an ACC talking point. But he is present in those discussions about the future of the sport. And what's interesting, and we'll get into some of the audio as the show goes on, but what's interesting is he believes that the NCAA is going to be torn down in terms of manpower at the top. It's going to be trimmed down, and then hopefully what he's looking for is either the NCAA itself or a third-party group is going to be the enforcement wing of the NCAA, because obviously there is no enforcement wing of the NCAA. They suck at it.
Well, okay, so to that point, meeting head-on the talking points of what the NCAA has failed to do and what they did do was an early part of his conversation, which is to say, look, we've got to trim the NCAA. We've got to figure out what we want them to do. Do we want them to do anything? Should they exist? We think they should. In this capacity, they do quite well, and that is running the championships. They've done very well putting on the championships. There are a couple instances, and he noted it. He's specifically talking about the women's tournament.
Well, there was a red light that went off in his brain, like, except for that time that Emmert was an ass.
Yeah. Well, and you could tell he has no love lost for that guy. But the point would be, as he noted, he's like, for the most part, the NCAA in putting on their championships in all of the sports, we're talking about something the ACC is great in, lacrosse to whatever, football, right? That they've done a good job. And so do we want them to continue to do that? It's been, obviously, the NCAA tournament has been a massive profit center. So, yeah, they can keep doing that. It's one of the great tournaments in the world. You know, I mean, that's fair to say. So let them do that. And then do we have an enforcement arm under the banner of the NCAA? Maybe we do, maybe we don't. Maybe that's something we trim and we have an outside entity come in and do that and regulate the programs.
Yahoo Sports.
See those bastards knocking on your door, run for the hills. So there it is, right? And then he also said, yes, we already see where football, big-time college football, has begun to separate itself. But I don't predict that there is going to be a separation. Everybody talks about the Power Five leaving the NCAA, leaving the current setup. He doesn't see that happening in the next 5 to 6 years for a variety of reasons. But what he does see is potentially setting up subdivisions to where people competing against one another for national championships. And this is why he wanted the federal government to get involved, by the way, because there's a fairness aspect to this and a national entity. But the point would be they would be in a shared, or it would coalesce around revenue streams that are similar. So if you play at Marshall, you'd be playing somebody who's akin to Marshall. You wouldn't be playing Alabama, and so there's that.
Right. What was interesting about that is he was talking out of both sides of his mouth at different points of the press availability. Because at one point he says, I believe that the 10 FBS divisions should all be together, not necessarily Power 5, Group of 5. Like those 10 should all be together. But then he also is talking about subdivisions. So which is it? Because to me, subdivisions would say Group of 5, you're over here. There's Division 1AA, the old 1AA, which is the FCS now. That's over here.
But those were all under the umbrella of the NCAA.
Right. But now we've got Power 5 over. So it's almost like he does want to break up Power 5 into its own subdivision of Division 1, and then I get cross-eyed hearing about that. But I think in the end, it sounds like he wants the big earning conferences to exist as one thing.
Yeah, and he wants, it sounds like, or he's willing to listen to the idea of the CFP running it. Football's national championship is not run by the NCAA. It's run by College Football Playoff. It's the CFP. It already is. So they could do that.
Right. It's not that monumental of a change. We actually talked about this on Monday. If you could reclassify, and that's where I think he stops. I don't think he wants a reclassification because then you're talking about Title IX implications going away and then a unionization of players, which he was not for at all at Northwestern.
But you noticed that he wasn't as gung-ho this time around.
Correct. Yeah. Well, he understands the way that things are going. But I don't know that he's for that total reclassification. For me, I think it makes the most sense to put football on its own and then the NCAA exists for everything else, including March Madness, which is where the NCAA makes all of its money, is on specifically March Madness. And also, if you read business reports about that and what Mark Emmert did or did not do, they left hundreds of millions of dollars on the table.
On the table.
With the negotiations and the renewals with March Madness instead of maximizing like every other sports entity does.
It's crazy.
Otherwise, there might be more palatable for a basketball-only institution, say St. Joseph's up in Philadelphia. They might be like, all right, yeah, football, you do what you're going to do because March Madness is enough. It's lucrative enough for us. Yeah.
Carol asked the question right out the jump here. Who else would you like to see on the three we play every year if that happens? Clemson, Miami, and who else? Well, it's funny because yesterday on the show I said, man, looks like we're getting the shaft. If you got Clemson and Miami and then whatever slappy you want to throw in there for your third, you're playing two of the possible preeminent forces of the ACC. If Miami is going to spend like they appear to want to and invest and have the football cachet that they do, if they're ever really good again, you can play them every year regardless, and I'm for that. I want to play them every year. I wouldn't back away from that. But if you're also playing Clemson, man, and you're trying to win the ACC, damn. Can we throw Duke? My answer is Duke. I'd like to play Duke every year.
I'd take Clemson out of that rotation, and it's not necessarily for fear of Clemson as an FSU fan because these things tend to be cyclical. Clemson was, dead and gone for 30, 40 years.
Yeah, they didn't matter.
But if you're the ACC, when do you want Florida State to play Clemson? When do you want those two brands to clash? Do you want to be in October, or would you prefer it in December when something's on the line?
Yeah.
What gives you the best chance for those two programs, or even Miami and Clemson, whatever it is? What gives you the best chance? That you don't have all three of them playing in a pool in the regular season. You need to spread those out. So for me, it would be something like Georgia Tech, Miami, and NC State. There you go. There are three. And it's not like you're ducking Clemson for years at a time.
Because there's no longer divisions, you can play them in the ACC championship game.
That's what I'm saying. And that's better leverage for the ACC. That's a better rated product in December.
But if you're selling it to TV, they're going to say, no, we want a regular season. If you're ESPN, you want assurances that Florida State's playing Virginia Tech, Miami, Clemson, like the teams with viability nationally.
100%. I hear that point, but my counterpoint would be, would you rather have more interest from those markets for longer in the season? Because guess what? FSU NC State or FSU North Carolina is now much more interesting if they didn't get blown out by Clemson in October. So if that game happens around Halloween, now people want to watch that game because there's something at stake. Florida State is still in the ACC title hunt, and so is Clemson.
Yeah. I'm excited about the possibility of this shift. I mean, lost in all of the money conversation, and I get that's the bigger, more important, pressing issue is the money, and it will be forevermore and always is. But if we're just getting down to the collegial, what's left of the collegial nature of college football and fandom of college football and campuses and traditions, man, I love getting rid of the divisions and switching this thing up and getting an opportunity to play all these teams. I mean, I think if I were a student athlete, I'd really love it, knowing that when I signed on, I'd have a chance to play every team in my conference before my 4 years were up. That's exciting, I think. And it's exciting for me as a fan. Again, this is not burying my head in the sand. I get what's important. I'm just saying, man, I love the idea of being able to go to places we never get to go to, that we never see, to travel to all these different schools.
This is where the Big 12 model, before obviously the poaching came down, I wish we could shrink the sport down into divisions. And maybe that's the future of the super conference, is you shrink it down into divisions of 10, subdivisions. And so if we're in the southeast of a super conference existing, here's Auburn, Florida, Florida State, Clemson, whatever.
Woo!
You play everybody in your division like the Big 12 has for a long time, or you play everybody in your conference, I should say. That's the way the Big 12 does it. And then you rematch with whoever it is, but it's a perfectly balanced schedule. It's fair. It's as fair as it gets. Because what's going to happen in the 3-5-5 model is inevitably somebody's going to be in that championship game, and the rotation is North Carolina, Duke, and Syracuse, or something along those lines. Like, that's not real. That's not real. That's not indicative of who the best in the ACC is.
Yeah. Well, you also know, though, that in the current situation, teams are more willing to suffer losses, and there is more leeway in that you lose 2 games, you're not out of the college football playoff. If, in fact, they expand the college football playoff, you won't be. Even now, you're not technically, but that if you get this thing to 12, like they're talking about eventually, yeah, man, okay, I'll live with it. You can go 10-2 and make the college football playoff. And if you're the best team and you had the hardest schedule, thus you suffered a couple of blemishes, you'll prove yourself. It'll be all right. Then I'd be all for it. You know what? You want to schedule out of conference? We got Notre Dame, Clemson this year. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah.
Well, that's where part and parcel, if you expand that way, the alliance, that scheduling alliance. Remember that thing? That didn't really come up too much at Amelia Island, but that's where that would kick in.
I would have taken to the dais with the shirt.
Alliance?
The alliance.
Yeah. With the ACCA.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, look at that.
I would have made up a title for it different than what they came up with. I would have worn a shirt that just said Grand Alliance. Good to see everybody here.
It's a picture of the Emperor from Star Wars.
Grand Alliance. It's a picture of me leading the Grand Alliance. Hello, fellow members of the Grand Alliance.
Well, that's where it would kick in and be valuable, is if the playoff expands, then you're willing to go play whoever, whenever. Who cares?
Yeah, that would be great. Yes, if you get this to that place, which we probably will in our lifetime, maybe the next 10 years.
Before the show is done. That's right. Before you retire.
I retire from the airwaves. Don't know when that is.
You're not opting from early retirement or early retirement.
No, and we don't work in an industry where where people would come in and be like, Jeff, we would like you to take early retirement. We're willing to. There's no people coming to suggest that to me.
Warchant money's for real, though, dude.
Yeah, but I need them to come. All right, Gene, you want me to retire early and provide nothing for you? Sure. Send the cash my way, and I'll take it to the house.
That's what the super chats are for.
It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Leaky faucet, busted pipes, clogged toilet? M&L Plumbing is here for you. For all commercial, construction, and residential plumbing issues, call M&L Plumbing at 575-9393 or visit online at mnlplumbing.com.
Hey, Nole fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Hi, I'm Stephanie. Some people call me Paul because I work at Paul's Termite and Pest Control. Everyone that works here will proudly answer to the name Paul. One of the things I love about my job is that I get to help people fix their problems every day. If you have pests in your home and you're like 99.9% of the people I deal with, you want them gone, not tomorrow, but right now. It always puts a smile on my face to hear the reaction of a customer when I tell them we'll have someone out there in a couple of hours. At Paul's, I get the privilege of making your environment safer and more healthy for your family and pets. And because Paul's provides a same-day service guarantee with minimal wait, we get to begin the process right after I receive the call.
If you live in Leon County and call us by noon, Paul's Pest Control will be out by 5, guaranteed. We're a local company, and it's our mission to help keep Tallahassee area customers comfortable and free from the problem that pests bring. And we do so with treatments that are friendly to our environment for the elimination of termites and any other pests.
And a greener lawn, too. Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Applications, onboarding, payroll, termination. Business owners and managers, these are the processes that take away too much time from what you do best. But what if there was a locally owned, responsive solution that would charge you a fraction of the big national payroll companies? Sound too good to be true? It's not. North Florida Payroll Services is Tallahassee owned for nearly 15 years. And in that time, their prices have never changed. The reason North Florida Payroll Services can do that? Exceptional customer service that constantly evolves with the latest technology. From application to termination, for turnkey service for your payroll and HR services, trust a Tallahassee expert and save yourself time and money. North Florida Payroll Services. Online at northfloridapayroll.com.
Matt, when you think of a successful Southern cookout, what do you think of first?
The food, of course.
The food, but you got to think about the food prep. And Hearth and Patio has thought about that with their awesome grills.
What kind of grills?
Fire Magic, Broil Master, Blaze Grills, Kamado Joe. Matt, they got it all.
Wow.
Custom outdoor kitchens. Create an outdoor cooking space.
You'll be the envy of your neighborhood.
You will be the envy of your neighborhood, and you'll make a lot of people jealous. That's because you called Hearth and Patio at 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282. Or you can visit Hearth and Patio online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com.
It's a backyard barbecue party. What's Lee Holcomb's number one more time?
850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282. To Hearth and Patio, they not only keep the home fires burning, Hearth and Patio will elevate your grilling game.
Nice.
Nice indeed.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
"40 years he hasn't produced, it seems like, right?" There's lots of them, I know, but in a pretty eclectic mix of artists that he
Probably Wilco.
probably.
Was Ruben in on Wilco?
I don't think so. No, wasn't. But Wilco's got a new record coming out.
What?
Yeah, they announced it a couple days ago. Yeah, I'm very
Well
excited.
now,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, excited. Very excited.
They still got something in the tank.
Of course. Well, when you're as artistic as he is, yeah. Hey, so, I thought of something. Somebody mentioned here on the chat that the ACC is going to be playing Tuesday nights instead of Maction in a few years. Obviously a tongue-in-cheek statement, but it is kind of funny. And it occurred to me, is there any sub-level of a sport? Like, that's what I look at when I think of, like, we used to tease USF because they'd throw their asses on a Wednesday night. Like, whenever ESPN decided to get creative and try to add football games, obviously, because that's the draw, live sports is where it's at. They would just, but they tab sorry ass USF. They'd be like, well, you're a nothing program. We'll throw your ass on a Wednesday at 4, and we'd tease them about that because they thought they were in the same realm, but they weren't. They had a cup of coffee for a minute there when they beat Auburn, and that was a big deal, but then they were useless. And now they've been passed over by UCF 10 times over, really of no significance, USF. So I bring that up to take shots at USF and their fans, but also because if you're a fan of a team, so, I pay attention to and root for East Tennessee State for obvious reasons. But I know that East Tennessee State is never going to play for a national championship, the way that we see Florida State or these days, Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, specifically those.
Only them. Only them.
That's right.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah. Throwing in a Clemson every now and again, right? So there's the two separate realities there. And if you embrace, and in a lot of people who went to small schools are listening to this and they know exactly what I'm talking about. If you went to a small school and your school has football, then you might just be satisfied watching week to week, hoping they beat, Georgia Southern and they win the Southern Conference and they knock out the Citadel and, whatever it might be, right? And it can be exciting. Like, that's the brand of football you're watching. It's different than when you watch others. And you can be locked in, like really care. I mean, you haven't really done this with Iona because, you weren't there very long and you didn't have a good experience.
Well, yeah. And they shut down the football program anyway.
But what I'm saying is in basketball, you don't go home, race home on a Wednesday because Iona's tipping against whomever.
No, I'll check in on them when they do the MAC tournament, and that's it.
Right.
Yeah.
But there are plenty of people who do follow schools like that religiously the way we follow Florida State, right? Where they go home and they're like, I'm going to watch this team. I mean, they pull it up on their phone. These days, you can watch all those small teams.
Why do I feel like you're about to be read from Shawshank and you're about to institutionalize Florida State?
Yeah. No. What I'm telling you is there, like, if that happened, if Florida State was relegated to a different status, could you get excited knowing that we were once in the promised land and have now been cast out?
Maybe in my 60s, but not any time between now and then.
Well, and I'll tell you why. I thought about it. Not because I think that's about to happen, and not because I believe long-term this is where Florida State shall reside. I do think temporarily this is where we are residing, period. We are not, right now, anywhere close to competing for the national championship. Now, you want to do something to pour cold water on yourself. We talk all the time about Florida State taking the next step and getting to 500, getting past 500, going bowling, finishing the year ranked. There is a world of difference between this is akin to breaking 100, maybe shooting 89, 88, or scratch, right? Like now all of a sudden you're a one handicap or you're even, right? Big difference, big difference. Well, if Florida State gets back to 8-4, 7-5, we'll be happy-ish for now, but it's a stepping stone, right? It's just a stepping stone. This is not ultimately something to revel in.
I've got some cold water for you too after you make your point.
Well,
but
okay.
It's about Mike.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll back to this. Okay. Hold on. So that happens, let's say, right? What would have happened if Florida State played Georgia last year?
Nothing good.
They could have named their score?
Yeah.
You think Georgia's good enough they could have pretty much named their score?
I don't know about that because their offense went through a lot of struggles, but it's not like we would have put 10 on the board. I think we would have been lucky to put 10 on the board.
Very.
Yeah.
I mean, yes.
Yeah, it might have been like 42-6, something like that.
Yeah, it would have been ugly.
With our pass rush, we might have caused some issues where they had to punt a couple times from the 50 after a couple first downs, that kind of thing. But only a couple times.
It would have been ugly.
Yeah. It wouldn't have been within 30.
Now, somebody rightfully could say, hey, Jeff, I watched Clemson and Georgia play a near standstill to start the year. Georgia barely beat Clemson. We had the lead in the fourth quarter on the road against Clemson. What do you mean we couldn't compete? Yeah, come on. Yeah, I guess it is fair to argue when you play them matters, But if you'd played them, say, by week 6 or 7, I think that would have been problematic. Very problematic. What if we played Ohio State last year?
They were a little bit more gettable. You might have only lost by 24-28 in that game.
Yeah, 4 touchdowns. Probably lose by 4 touchdowns.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
More gettable.
Right, Alabama.
It depends.
Yeah, 4 touchdowns.
What
5
kind
touchdowns.
what kind of mood is Nick in?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
is Nick in a 28-7 good enough today mood?
Long ways away.
Yeah,
I'm
very aware.
Stark reality, the cold water. Okay, well, all right. If that were the reality moving forward, that we were not on that plane anymore, and then instead of going and watching us compete against those teams, but rather you were taking on Virginia Tech and North Carolina and teams like that, and we were all right there about the same level, could you go into Doak knowing that we're here, we're not here, we're not playing for this up here. We used to exist in that world, but we don't anymore. We're now over here with other like-minded folk, and we don't have the same sort of resources, nor in some cases schools choose not to spend them all on that. So would you be able to do that and do so with fervor? Would you love it?
Sir, I work for Warchant.com. Where are we going with this?
Well, I love the World Baseball Classic in a way that you don't. Like, I can't.
Yeah.
I love
And the
it.
President's Cup, too.
And no, I like it. I won't have you besmirching the President's Cup on these airwaves. But what I would tell you is that the World Baseball Classic, which had to take a break because of COVID, sadly, it's back. And they're going to have the World Baseball Classic in 2023.
Wait a minute. So this is all a ploy to bring up the World Baseball Classic?
Whenever I can. But the World Baseball Classic, which features 20 nations competing one another for the grand prize of winning the World Baseball Classic, a formidable prize indeed, that is returning in 2023. And I have been to World Baseball Classic games, and I have shared in the joy that they bring with many people from different nations. And it's been a grand time. I have embraced it. Now, is it the same as Major League Baseball? No. Is it the same as winning the World Series for my beloved Pittsburgh Pirates? No.
Oh, my God.
But do I love the World Baseball Classic? I do. I do love the World. So
Florida State is the World Baseball Classic.
No. But maybe we're headed that direction. Maybe this is a secondary thing that we're headed towards.
You would not be as willing to concede that when you were my age as you are when, hey, if you ride it out for the next 10 years and this is where we're going, no big deal.
I just don't spend a lot of time denying the realities of situations anymore. I don't have that time that I once had when you're referencing me in my 20s. Time was on my side.
Yeah, it is right now, too, because if that's the reality, you'll be gone and we'll be left to deal with it at Warchant or the next iteration of Warchant. Here's my cold water, though. The interesting thing for Mike Norvell, here's the weird reality. His path to the playoff was easier in his last institution than it is right here. Think about that, because Cincinnati just made it.
Yeah.
And they were every bit as good as Cincinnati by the time he had left. Now, I don't know what was coming up recruiting-wise for Mike, but Memphis had game day in their home stadium, outside their home stadium, for the game against Cincinnati. I'm assuming something crazy just came up on the chat, given the way that you guys looked at each other.
I was clicking. He was clicking to post it. I was clicking to unpost it, and we were laughing.
I see.
My man P. Simpson wrote, the Jeff Cameron Show, you're home for the World Baseball Classic and President's Cup coverage.
There it is.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
But do you think Mike is driving down the Parkway someday, and he's like, the Tigers were closer to the playoff than my Noles are. What the hell?
I don't think so. I think he's thinking about retaining his job. I think he spends a lot of time trying to figure out ways, and thankfully he spends a lot of time trying to figure out ways to get us to where we need to be quickly in order for him to retain his job. Now, I don't think the motivation is solely I never come to work thinking about ratings, and ratings then in turn ensure that I have a job, right? I never do that. We get awesome ratings, have forever. So I'm not worried about it. But B, that's not why you do it, right? You do the show. It's your job. You love it. There are aspects of it that you want to perfect. There are things you're chasing that you can never achieve, all that, right? So I don't think Mike Norvell's driving down the road thinking, man, I make over $5 million a year. I need to keep this job. That's just the reality of the job, right? I think he's thinking of ways to make the program a lot better. I think he's thinking of how can we win games a little bit quicker, because he knows that is the impetus for them to have real success, right? Just get to 8-9 wins. You might be able to bring in the kinds of players that then allow you to access what I was just lamenting. And that is, we don't play on the same stratosphere anymore as Alabama and Georgia and Ohio State and some others. We don't. We're not there. Hell, we can't even finish third in the Atlantic. We suck. So he's got to get us to that place, and then maybe you have a chance to start thinking about the big stuff.
One thing I learned about you today is you've never had to build a beautiful project on ratings, and you don't understand the joy that comes with a ratings report from top to bottom.
You were not here when I had to build that. You were barely alive when I first started having to build that.
You had to do ratings reports for the whole station?
No, I never had to do ratings reports. I was responsible for getting good ratings, of which would be brought up. Those reports would be brought up.
Yeah.
I was held accountable in that way early on. No, but I did not have to write a ratings report. Tom.
Then you'd understand how amazing it is. And it's the best part of the job.
No, I would just ask you when you finished your ratings report, how'd we do? That's what I would do. And you're like, we did quite well. Here, and here. Need to get better here. Gotcha. Walk out the door. That's how that went.
Because it's gospel. I mean, they have it nailed down to a science. It's down to a 1-to-1 ratio. It's unbelievable.
Oh, man. Anyhow, hey, listen, you got to be willing to dance in all pools. You got to find out. You got to be like, okay,
Dance to the war chant.
This is not an Olympic-sized pool, but it is nice, cool water nonetheless. I can be happy here.
It sounds like a concession speech from you.
No.
You're done? You're saying we're done? Never more.
Until changes are made, and I'm not talking about our head coach. I'm talking about the financial structure. Until that shifts, yes, Florida State is not competing for a national championship anytime soon.
And this was always our fate the moment we chose the ACC?
No. This became our fate when the television contracts got out of control and the SEC and the Big Ten dictated terms. And we, being a young university compared to most, we have always outkicked our coverage. We're actually a beacon of light. We are a shining example of what's possible when a lot of hardworking, smart people strive towards excellence and don't take no for an answer. But what Bobby Bowden built is remarkable. We had no business being the better program over Florida, but that's exactly what we've been in a terribly short period of time.
We still are. They had a 50-year head start.
The problem is, while we can thump our chests about that, and we can tell everybody that we've achieved more in a relative short period of time compared to the vast majority of the other elite programs in college football. And that is true. The fact that we've walked alongside and surpassed the likes of LSU, Alabama, I shouldn't even include LSU there, Alabama, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Nebraska, and others in that 40-year window, 45-year window is insane. Should have never happened. But we did do that. The problem is, while that was all possible then, it is not possible now because of the direction that college football has gone in terms of money. And now that you can't fall back on just those successes, but rather you need the cachet of a much deeper and richer, and I put the emphasis on richer, history as a university, because then you would have needed what? Another 2 generations of alumni to go on to become rich doctors and lawyers and whatever else that have given back to the university like they have at these other institutions that I've referenced that we just simply do not have?
That's the question about the great awakening of NIL, though, because I'd love to know the numbers, and I'm sure they won't share them openly. Maybe we can get an honest answer behind the scenes. But these NIL collectives, it seems like they're doing a very good job, at least initially, of getting the resources necessary. And I don't know if that is besmirching what the boosters have been doing for a long time, or if it's just because there's a new level of desperation because our fans are seeing the change, the seismic change in how the sport is getting it done. But it seems like grassroots-wise, there's a hell of a lot more money being infused into the collectives that we've just not tapped into as a booster community here. So it gives me hope that there might be resources to compete on the level of, if we want 3 or 4 football players, we're going to give you like really difference-making football players.
I believe that's possible.
In any given class, we can get those kids.
Yeah, but you can't get the depth of talent that Georgia has right now.
I
mean, they just had 15 freaking guys drafted. 15.
I'm not trying to do that right now. I'm trying to swim in the shallow pool. But we're not even swimming. We're standing in it.
I'm saying I'm in the shallow pool, and I've embraced that we're in the shallow pool. I'd like to swim in the Olympic-sized pool, but that's not our reality right now. We just got to float about in the shallow pool for a while.
There might be a little doggy paddle coming, though, with the collective.
To like the 7 to 8 foot range.
There we go.
Yeah, not
That's
quite
right.
to 12 feet or 15 feet. You can't dive off a diving board from here.
They've raised millions of dollars in essentially a month. That's not bad.
I'm not dogging them. I'm just telling you, no matter what they raise, it's going to be a far cry from what Notre Dame, Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, USC, Oklahoma can raise. We're not even close. We won't even be close.
Good enough to get 3 or 4 difference makers a year.
Yeah. But when you go to the college football playoff, you're playing a team that's got 15 or 20 difference makers.
Man, I'm not looking at the top of the mountain. I'm looking at what's in front of me.
In the interim, then the fair. Well, you get back to where we started, which is that where can you get to? Well, Mike has got to get to 8-4. Can we start there? Then maybe you got a chance to look at 9 wins, 10 wins, and then when you get to, if you're living in the 10-win area code,
you're close.
You're very close. Now you've got, all right, can you get the right quarterback? That's what when you get to the 10-win.
Hear that, rising spear?
Yeah. Can you get the right quarterback? Well, we'll see. I mean, Georgia just won it in a weird way because Georgia's quarterback is whatever. I mean, let's be realistic. He's a nice player for what they are, but
they've yet to have their Jameis
I mean,
or their
he's-
Lawrence or their Deshaun.
Yeah, he's a whatever quarterback. He's not special in any
well, they
way,
did.
shape.
Fields went the other way.
They ran him off because they chose to stick with the loser.
Because he got a hot hand, and they're like,
crazy.
We're screwed.
Yeah, but no, they have a whatever quarterback. They just happen to have 3 incredible tailbacks, a loaded wide receiving core, and the best defense in the history of college football. that helps. That helps.
This ain't going to be the best defense in college football history this year, but you know what? This defense out here in Tallahassee might be able to play a little bit.
I like that you took the opportunity on the heels of me referencing Georgia's defense to include Florida State in the sentence.
Did you not hear the caveat in between? This isn't the greatest defense in the history of college football, but you know what? This defense might be all right. Might be all right
I'm
this
just
year.
saying it's an interesting time to make the point because this defense is going to be...
Well, it's because I don't care about Georgia. I care about us.
I care about us too, but you have to care about the teams that you're trying to pass in order to become a college football playoff participant.
But Georgia's at the pole position.
Like right down the damn road.
But they're in the pole position of this race. We're in 60th.
Yeah,
I don't care about them. Let's pass Louisville. Let's really make sure we are actually past Syracuse and Louisville.
I agree with that.
And Wake.
Yes.
You know, like these
we
are
need
the
to
teams
get to where we're comfortably past Syracuse, Wake, and these other slappies that we have no business thinking about.
We are not comfortably past Syracuse.
We're not comfortably past anybody.
Yeah.
Maybe Duke.
We'll fight that battle later. Right now, we're the Reds. You know, we got to be the Pirates next. You're in third place. That's not a shot. You're in third place.
We also took 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers.
That's right.
Suck it, Dodgers. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
The Tallahassee Police Department responded to an apartment complex fire Wednesday morning. The apartment complex located on the 1300 block of Ocala Road caught on fire around 8:27 a.m. TFG said the fire was in the attic and the firefighters were able to get the fire under control. No injuries were reported, but 2 apartments were damaged by the fire. Firefighters believe the fire originated from an exhaust fan. Leon County School Superintendent Rocky Hanna appeared before the State Board of Education Wednesday to explain the district's failure to allocate teacher salary increases funded by the state. The district has missed deadlines dating back to October to submit a salary distribution plan and expenditure report on allocating of the funding. LCS received about $500,000 from the state for teacher raises. LCS officials have been unable to reach an agreement with the teachers union. Hanna notified the board the district will meet with the teachers union again today, seeking to work out a deal for implementing the raises. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MaclemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Mainly clear skies and quiet this afternoon with highs around 87. Northeasterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Slight chance for scattered thunderstorms. Tonight, lows dip down to about 64, partly cloudy skies. Chance for scattered thunderstorms tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 82, a mix of clouds and sun. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 84.
Now go call Seminole Glass. They'll get on the road and get it done fast.
Your local family-owned glass company, serving the Big Bend for over 15 years. At Seminole Auto Glass, we care about your safety. Insurance will send you wherever it benefits them, not the quality of service. There's a difference in auto glass companies. Trust your local auto glass experts. Seminole Auto Glass.
They handle any kind of broken glass, and you know who they are.
Better call Seminole.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
Of 97 patients, 33 are vaccinated, and 63% are considered incidental.
See, this is what I'm upset about. He's basically made up the percentages to look like it's at 100%, but the two are not related to each other.
What's 37% of 97?
It's 35.89.
So why in the hell can't he literally ask iPhone include that in his articles?
Maybe he's got an Android.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. The Cameron Show is sponsored by the legendary team at Hamilton Home Loans. Great rates, cutting-edge technology, and transparent communication is the recipe for a 5-star mortgage experience at FSUHomeLoans.com.
And just a reality check for us all, and sort of what's reasonable. Ryan made me laugh here on the chat. This is good. I'm getting to the age where I just tolerate things. FSU football is turning into the older wife. You're just comfortable with her being around and don't expect much.
Is that real? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, I think with age,
that was a gutsy admission.
No. I'm in love with my wife and happy that we are still together after all this time. What I'm saying is this. That is a reality. Like, you reach an age, and this is just more about age than it is the particular woman. You reach an age where you realize, Tom, for example, and you're pretty close to it, and you're married, and happily so. So you know that when you walk on Florida State's campus, there's not a single student doing a double take on you. Like, you're not who they're after. That time has come and gone.
Everybody has a type.
Okay. Yeah. So the point would be that, because you're a realist, that, middle-aged man is not who they're looking at because they're 20 or 21.
Right. Also, I'm not going for a walk on campus. It's
just right. It'd be awkward. It'd be strange.
You'd have to pay me to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
But okay. So the point is, because you're a realist and you're pragmatic, that's just the reality of the situation. Well, you get to a certain age or in a stage in a relationship, it's not going to be like the first year you dated, first 3 years you dated. That's never going to happen again. Frankly, that's okay. We're beyond that.
Right. Yeah.
We've matured to a place
that would actually be strange.
Yes.
Yeah.
Stressful.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, good God, man, I just want to watch the game. What in the world? So, that's
why we got the band on, man. We're locked in.
That's just reality.
I'll be here tomorrow.
Yeah.
Leave me be.
Yeah.
Leave me be.
I want to watch the game. It's not a commentary on whether or not I find you attractive. It's not indicative of where we're at as a relationship and a partner. It's not. I want to watch the game. It's kickoff. What are we doing? Timing's everything. So
why does the vacuum come out during kickoff of the game? We had the whole morning. The whole morning.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. Like, you get to a place where you're kind of, that's all this is. That's all. My reality about Florida State right now is that I've got a long ways to go. I don't mind discussing it openly and honestly. I don't mind saying, here's where we're at. And unless something changes in the very near future, what we can expect them to be has shifted. It just has.
Yeah.
It has shifted. Yeah. And that's not being Debbie Downer. That is not me trying to have people brace for failure. No. You still hold the guy accountable. They got to be better than 5-7. There's no doubt about that.
Right. I think that expectation thing is on a 2-year rolling basis, though. It's not your permanent fixture.
No,
right.
It's not.
I mean, that's the difference, because sometimes it sounds like this is your lot in life. You're done.
Right. But what I'm telling you is that if the rules don't change and something doesn't change in terms of the possibility of more revenue, it's not just this school. It's really the schools of the ACC, but in particular this school, because, again, we don't have an IPTAY fund. There's none of that here. We don't have Clemson money. Not even close.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, hell, we don't even have North Carolina money. So my point would be, because this has shifted to a place where your alumni and the depth of that alumni, meaning the years that have passed, do you have generations, plural, several generations of alumni that went on to produce mass wealth and return it to the university as a thank you. And obviously fully endowed scholarships for everybody. All that. Do you have that? Because if you don't, you're at a disadvantage, no matter what you've achieved that surpasses the schools that I'm referencing. Florida State has surpassed all of them on the football field in that way. But we don't have their money.
Right.
And that is the stark reality of our situation.
Our reward is that we get equal payouts with BC and Wake.
It sucks.
That's the reward for all of that work, legitimizing this conference.
Well, and the problem is you wouldn't even bring that up because nobody cares that Vanderbilt gets the same cut as Alabama in the SEC. They don't care that Kentucky and the rest of those slappies that do nothing year in and year out and never will get that money because they're swimming in money. We always bring it up because we're pissed that we're not swimming in money.
Yep. We're bringing it up for 10 years. And nothing's changed. We're still stuck. He does a lot less than I do at the job. Why does he get paid the same?
Yeah.
We're that guy in the office.
Well, don't do that, Phil. Sit back.
I'm working less.
Kick your feet up.
That's right.
Yeah. We'll watch all the companies that do it right.
Raise tuition. There's your solution.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with us. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Refreshing and simple. 2 words you don't hear many people use to describe their experience going through the process of getting a home loan. That's what puts the Hamilton Home Loans experience in a category all their own. If you're buying or refinancing a home, Hamilton Home Loans will provide a personalized mortgage experience that is dedicated to making the process refreshingly simple. It all begins with an initial consultation with an experienced Hamilton Home Loans advisor to find out what your goals are in order to find the right mortgage to suit your specific needs. Then, your personal home loan advisor will take you through all the steps from application, underwriting, approval, and closing, all the way to the front steps of your new home. Once you've experienced the Hamilton Home Loan process, you can be a customer for life and never have to pay lender fees again. For first responders, nurses, physician assistants, teachers, active and retired military, ask about the Hamilton for Heroes program. Personalized attention with your needs put first. Now that's refreshingly simple. Find out more at HamiltonHomeLoans.com. That's HamiltonHomeLoans.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 200719.
This is Kyle, Service Manager from Barano Heating and Air. Schedule an appointment from your mobile device to learn about our Total Comfort Service Program. With guaranteed same-day service, 15% off necessary repairs, and $25 berry bucks to use towards air filters and other products. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Any day, anytime, anywhere. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license CAC 1816-186. Whitten Glass has been taking care of families since 1945.
Experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best, like Whitten's top-of-the-line bath enclosures. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Whitten Glass, and they provide precise installation.
Whitten Glass, Tallahassee's first family in glass. Online at whittenglass.com. Call 850-222-5781.
Physical stress on our bodies can take its toll as the years go by. Whether you're looking to get back into an old sport or just want to spend more time outdoors to explore all life has to offer in our beautiful city, the dedicated team at TOC is here for you every step of the way. You can trust TOC for all your orthopedic needs. And now, scheduling an appointment has never been easier. Just visit teamtoc.com and click schedule online. That's teamtoc.com.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. President Biden has appealed to world leaders for a renewed international commitment to attacking COVID-19 as he leads the U.S. in marking the approaching tragic milestone of 1 million deaths at home from the virus. In recorded remarks to a virtual COVID-19 summit, the president says the gathering is a chance for the world to renew commitments in fighting the virus.
Keep our foot on the gas when it comes to getting this pandemic under control and preventing future health crises. Collectively, we're making significant new commitments to help keep up the fight against COVID-19 in 2022, protect the most vulnerable populations, and prepare for the next health crisis because there will be others.
The president used that first summit to pledge to donate 1.2 billion vaccine doses worldwide. Also at townhall.com, firefighting managers in northern New Mexico say the flames of the largest wildfire burning in the U.S. have become unstoppable. As they advance and burn trees, suck moisture over decades of drought. Today marks another day of strong winds in the Rocky Mountain foothills. In recall news, correspondent Rita Foley reports Hyundai is recalling thousands of vehicles.
The recall covers some 2013 and 2014 Sonata sedans, many of which were recalled for the same problem in 2020. Hyundai says a low-pressure fuel hose can crack over time due to heat from the engine. That can cause fuel leaks and increase the risk of a fire.
And Mercedes-Benz recalling more than 292,000 vehicles in the U.S. It's in order to fix a problem that could cause the brakes to fail or perform poorly. The recall covering certain MLGL and R-Class vehicles from the 2006 through 2012 model years. Owners will be notified starting May 27th. More on these stories at townhall.com.
I'm about to compare a pepper shaker to a cash-out refinance. Hang with me. You know when you're at a restaurant and they ask, would you like some fresh ground pepper? And then they crank that giant tube, but almost nothing comes out? For me, only a certain amount of time is socially acceptable to wait. I know that getting that pepper out might make my life better, but it just seems too impossible. And that's what we hear people say about the cash-out refinance. People realize that the value of their home has gone up like hot pepper the last few years, leaving all this extra money sitting inside their home. But is it too hard to get out? It's Ryan from United Faith Mortgage. If you're interested in cashing out the extra pepper in your home, we're good at doing all the work while you just sit back and relax. And often, your mortgage payment and years in the loan will stay the same. If you'd like to hear about your options,
we are United Faith Mortgage.
United Faith Mortgage is a DBA of United Mortgage Corp. 25 Meadow Park Road, Melville, New York. Licensed mortgage banker. For all licensing information, go to NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Corporate NMLS number 1330. Equal housing lender. Licensed in Alaska, Hawaii, Georgia, North Dakota, South Dakota, or Utah.
What do you need tires on? Your car or truck, tractor, or heavy equipment? At Nice Tire and Auto Service, we have tires for all these needs. And we service your vehicle from air conditioning and computerized alignment to oil changes and everything else under the hood. Call Nice Tire and Auto today at 574-4100. That's 574-4100 for your scheduled maintenance. National accounts welcome at Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, just west of Capitol Circle.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
to that kind of sparked the conversation of the day. And no, I'm not saying Florida State should be relegated. Some are suggesting I did embrace the idea that something cannot be as high on the priority list as something else, but it can still be beloved. See my passion for the World Baseball Classic. Is it MLB's regular season to me? No, but I do like it, and I do watch it with great interest, and I will in 2023. By the way, your own Mike Piazza will be managing the Italian team.
That's great. Yeah.
Just thought I'd let you know.
I guess he was born in Verona, huh?
I just let you know. He's out there managing the Italian team to last place in the World Baseball Classic. One would guess or think. Perhaps. I don't know. That's an aside. We do have this hour an opportunity to engage, and I don't know how we're going to do it with the Jeff Cameron Show PR firm. I don't know where I would take this, but it's high on my list of well done, sir. That is so who you are. I have to embrace the absurdity of what you said and kind of revel in it for a moment because it just further reveals what I already thought you were. But now that's just like you're just immersing yourself in that horrific image. It's unbelievable. So I'll get to it momentarily because I am kind of curious. I mean, you joined the JCS PR firm years ago. You've been part of the many speeches. We've handed out the placards together at the convention every year in Hawaii. We've done all these things, but oftentimes I like to pick your brain because you elevated through the company quickly. You're my right-hand man. We sit down in a room when we get these particularly difficult PR moments. Sometimes you and I have been in that room and we've said, there's no navigating this one. We're going to have to drop him as a client. Like if you have an athlete.
That's what I brought to the table. I said, we don't have to take every
case. But yeah. I have said from the beginning that the Jeff Cameron Show PR firm is willing to take on those very difficult cases. It's what makes us special. Anybody can drop somebody. Anybody can run for the hills when they've got a situation that seems untenable. It takes a lot of perseverance, know-how, and what for to stick by an impossible client and find a way to navigate these rather choppy waters, to say the least, right? We thought about how we would handle, for example, Deshaun Watson. And I told you that we would have gotten out in front of that. If my client is not going to be charged criminally, the sooner we go to the dais and he takes responsibility for, let's say, behavior that reeks of a certain entitlement. That's one way of classifying it.
That certainly is one way.
That is a way a PR firm might classify it, right? So
you're growing greasy hair as you're speaking.
I'm saying, you might have to phrase things a certain way for the betterment of your client. And we would have had that press conference. We would have been waiting around, having my man miss 2 years of football. I'd have gone out there and said, okay, here's what we're going to do, Deshaun. Here's the problem. Look, these allegations, and I must say many of them seem quite believable from the evidence that I've read, not only paint you in a bad light, they certainly, beyond a shadow of doubt, prove you're a terrible human being. But there's no law against terrible human beings making a living. And there's no law against terrible human beings having opportunities to make millions of dollars. And that's the opportunity you have before you.
In fact, you might say there's a correlation between the two.
Oftentimes there is. So what I'm going to need from you is, if not sincere, at least a very believable acceptance of responsibility for these heinous actions. So every time you went to the massage parlor, which appears to be every hour on the hour for years, and, unwantedly did what you did, asking for a bit of an extensive massage, you're going to have to take ownership of that. You're going to have to sit up there. It's going to be tough. A lot of press, a lot of people there are going to ask you questions about those moments in time, the nature of those allegations. But the way we move on, and we make those millions of dollars and we remain employed, is to say, I'm very sorry. I behaved as poorly as a man can. I was entitled. I was wealthy. I was athletic. I thought that allowed for certain behaviors that really are reprehensible, and I should have never done that. Now, I could certainly go step by step and defend myself with some of these allegations, but I don't want to do that. I want to make the situation right. So we are willing to pay these women $20 million. We are going to disperse amongst those that have accused $20 million to help change their lives. It can't make up for what I've done, but it can help. And certainly we will continue to aid others who seek counseling. We're going to start a fund for people who've been abused, people who, whatever it is, right? We would have this press conference.
I smell terrible cologne and
absurd.
hair gel.
All of it's terrible.
Oh my
All
goodness.
of it's terrible. But if you own it, now this is, again, the Jeff Cameron Show PR working for a terrible human being. I'm not saying this is what I personally I believe. I'm saying this is what you got to do when you got a client like this. He's a bum, but you got to make the money. So here's the deal. You do it. You get out in front of it. You do the apology. You write the checks. Everybody's rich. Everybody's doing well for themselves. You're back on that football field in what, 10 games? 10 games?
Yeah,
Commissioner slaps you with a 10-game suspension and we're playing football.
We're on to Cincinnati.
That's how we would handle that. That's the kind of stuff the Jeff Cameron Show PR firm doesn't duck. We know. We got a dog of a client. It's not good. His actions are reprehensible. Horrid. Can't defend it. Own it. Pay him off. Let's play football. That's how this works. Behind closed doors in the Jeff Cameron Show PR firm, this is the kind of honest dialogue you and I have had to have. Look, when you told me that you would hire any number of players to help your football team win games.
That's General Manager Tom Lang. NFL General Manager Tom Lang did not get there by playing the straight and narrow.
Right.
NFL General Manager
GM Tom Lang was willing to look the other way at these kinds of things.
Is he allowed to sign with my rival? That's my problem. Because my job
is to win games.
Is to have my contract renewed. My job is not to win games.
But the only way your contract is renewed is if you win games.
That's right.
The only way.
That's right. But my job is to get my contract renewed so
by
my family
games.
Does not go hungry or has to eat at some nonchalant, ridiculous Long John Silver's. We're eating at 5-star restaurants for the rest of my life if I get 2 renewals on my contract. So that's my job as NFL General Manager.
Yeah. Which is, again, akin to just winning games because that's how that works.
That's right.
So you would hire Deshaun Watson. Steve writes, my job is to get suspended with pay. Yeah, that's a good one, right? I'd like to be paid for my kiss my ass on Main Street moment. I would love for them to say, that's it, that's all. We've had enough of you. You're shining negative lights on this here organization, Jeff. We're going to have to pay you handsomely to leave. We're going to give you 5 years salary plus severance to leave and never again.
That's how much we want you out of here.
That's right. Okay. I'll see you on the beach. Please forgive me for this inconvenience.
There's a reason folks who are looking for a quick payday don't make it to that level. Is because they're looking for the quick payday.
Right.
It's when you're not motivated by that payday that
you
typically
can get it.
That you get it. Yeah.
I don't know, man. There's a couple coaches that I wonder, like,
Sure, and there's a couple of players that once they get their,
they stop playing hard.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But by and large, if you're going to be that guy who commands that kind of money, it's because you're maniacal. It's because you wake up thinking about, oh, well, my knee is a little bit out of place when I let go of the football here.
Right.
I've got to work on that. Let me rep it 1,500 times.
Yeah. Let me spend the entirety of my day doing this.
I get Alex Guerrero in here to see if he can help.
So anyhow, I that was all a preface to the fact that I'm going to bring up something in a little bit about the Jeff Cameron Show PR firm. And I don't know that we have a salvageable case. And it's not often that I say that.
I know of which you speak. And the problem is that the documentary that came out about this person helped. And then all that equity was gone.
Yeah.
Well, the documentary helped. People were like, oh, this poor guy.
Yeah, the 30 for 30 or whatever it was. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch it finally?
Enough of it.
It was good though. It was good.
I mean,
no, but it was good. Did you? I mean,
yes, it was produced well. The dude's
Yeah, he's what he is.
He's trash. Yeah.
But you found empathy for him in these brief moments.
No, I don't.
I don't have it. I'm saying while you're watching.
I'm vindictive that way. I'm like, good. This is awesome. I'm glad you're going through this. You deserve this.
I gave him credit for going through it, though, for being willing to sit there and do that. I mean, come on, man. I don't need to relive this by actually playing the course. Well, I mean, that's reminds me when Jean Vandevelde played the 18th with the putter. Did you?
He did? I never knew.
Oh, it's awesome.
Man. How'd he get over the burn with the putter?
So this is funny. He said, for those that don't know, Jean Vandevelde is a famous French golfer who lost the British Open because he made some terrible decisions with a huge lead on number 18. And was it a 7 or an 8? I can't remember
whatever it was.
But he
saved it to make the playoff, whatever the score was.
A pretty lengthy putt to get to that playoff. But anyhow, he threw it away, right? All he had to do was make double bogey. I think he tripled. But the point would be that he said afterwards one time jokingly to a reporter, I probably could have made a double bogey with a putter instead of hitting driver and everything else today. And then as a joke, I don't remember which company it was, but one year they had him do it and filmed it. It could have been Nike, could have been Gatorade. I don't know who it was. They had him do it with a putter, and he did it. He got a 7. And I remember thinking that's genius and cool of him to do it, right? Like, let's see if I can do it. We should pull it up. I mean, I think it's a putter, but anyhow, it's fun. I'm sidetracked. When we come back, let's go ahead and play some of the comments from Jim Phillips, the new ACC commissioner. I thought he, as much as he could, I thought he shined here. I thought he was pretty straightforward. And I think what you take away from with his comments, Tom, is that, I mean, if there's a way, I trust that guy more than I trust the previous guy.
Yeah, I'm hopeful, and the audio will tell the story about the now. I'm hopeful he is dressing up this pig, putting lipstick all over it and whatever he needs to do to make it shine so that we can spin it off
into something better
bit by bit. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. Just make this thing more attractive so you can sell it off and be that corporate guy. Hey, that's my hope.
Really quickly before we break and come back with that audio, the Tallahassee Quarterback Club is inviting you to a member and guest social today from 5:30 to 7 at World of Beer out there on Appalachia Parkway. So if you're interested in that, then it's from 5:30 to 7 at World of Beer. If you go over to World of Beer there, you play a little golfy golf, have a good time.
Simulator's good.
Yeah,
that's a really good simulator.
Tallahassee Quarterback Club has been around since 1949, and maybe you want to join the club. Maybe you want to find out more about it, whatever it might be. Free beer and food while quantities last. They want you to know that. Raffles and door prizes also.
One more note about the simulator. I did bring in one of my clubs to see if the yardages were correct. They are.
I've hit on that simulator several times.
Oh, yeah. I missed it. I was sick for the holiday party.
It was awesome. I beat John in clubhead speed and ball speed. We were having a contest.
I would hope so.
It was
you play golf a lot more.
Yeah, but it was, he's an able-bodied younger man. He should have been able to win. He couldn't. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Thank you for calling the Medicare Help Desk. How can we help you?
Can you help me choose the right coverage for myself and my wife?
We sure can. We can help you choose from Medicare supplements, Medicare Advantage, or standalone prescription drug plans from over 30 different insurance carriers.
How much does it cost? We have a fixed income and can't afford extra expenses.
At the Medicare Help Desk, the consultation is completely free. We are here to help.
Thank you, Medicare Help Desk.
Hi, this is Justin Colvin, founder of the Medicare Help Desk. In my 17 years of experience, I routinely speak to seniors who are overwhelmed by the multitude of coverage options available to them. That's why I created the Medicare Help Desk, a place for you to get clear answers to all your questions and make sense of all the confusion. I've helped thousands of clients, and I live right here in Tallahassee with my family. I am active in my church and wish to help and serve my community. If you need help navigating the Medicare landscape, I'm easy to find. Just visit the MedicareHelpDesk.com. That's the MedicareHelpDesk.com.
When you need a plumber quick, how long is an acceptable time to have to wait?
Yeah, hey, it's the Millers again. Just calling you about our little plumbing problem.
2 hours?
Hey, we were hoping you can get here soon because the water is getting really bad. Please hurry.
4 hours?
I know you said you were on your way, but, honey, tell the kids to tread water. 8 hours? Don't worry about us.
At M&L Plumbing, you'll never have to wait long for quality, dependable service right when you need it. At M&L Plumbing, we listen to our customers, and our qualified technicians aim to achieve 100% customer satisfaction. So the next time you need plumbing work or repairs, think of the name M&L Plumbing, your local plumbing experts, commercial or residential. Give us a call, 850-575-9393, or visit us online at mandlplumbing.com. M&L Plumbing, for all of your plumbing needs.
God gave us two ends, one to think with and one to sit on. Success in life depends on which one you use. Heads, you win. Tails, you lose. Hi, I'm Rick Hughes, host of The Flatline. Heard every Sunday morning here at 7:30 a.m. on Real Talk 93.3 Tallahassee Real Talk Station. Come join me, 30 minutes of motivation, inspiration, and some education as I seek to reveal God's plan by teaching 10 unique problem-solving devices. Every Sunday morning, 7:30 a.m., 93.3 Real Talk Tallahassee.
If you're an attorney who struggles with the balance of managing your practice and practicing law, consider Lexicon as your #1 pick. From client intake to billing and all that comes in between, Lexicon doesn't miss a thing. Our comprehensive solution combines best-in-class software and services to take care of your firm's most critical challenges, automating many of the tasks that take time out of your day. It's all about giving you more of your billable hours back. And who doesn't love more revenue? No more searching for practice management that works. Lexicon marks the spot. Visit lexiconservices.com to learn what Lexicon can do for you.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it'd be too difficult or take too much time? Then try Babbel. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel teaches you conversations that you will actually use. With 14 languages and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll learn what matters most to you. Babbel. Language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is sponsored by the legendary team at Hamilton Home Loans. Great rates, cutting-edge technology, and transparent communication is the recipe for a 5-star mortgage experience at FSUHomeLoans.com.
I just realized that we've got an opportunity here, as this is the solving for the future that we like to do from time to time on the program, obviously. And my friends at ISF are the ones that sponsor the segment. And I just realized something, Tom, that it's that time of year again. I'm going back to when they first joined, and we had a partnership with them. We get into National Hurricane Preparedness Week and month and all that good stuff.
It's that time. Comes with the heat.
The experts at ISF remind you to be prepared when hurricanes and other disasters strike. On May 21st at 10 a.m., they will be, by the way, at New Covenant Holy Temple. ISF will be partnering with the Second Harvest of the Big Bend to hand out free food and hurricane supply buckets filled with essentials that you'll need to be prepared this hurricane season. ISF reminds us all to make a plan, build a bucket, be prepared. You can visit ISF.com for more. ISF solving the future, which is great.
Oh, that's right. I wanted a photo op with the bucket, and it was COVID when they rolled that guy out there. That big mascot thing. We still got to get that photo. But that project sounds very much like something the Second Harvest would do, and I'm glad to hear that ISF is working with them, just like we have.
Two of our people, getting together and helping the community out. I think it's great. So, again, ISF reminding you to make a plan, build a bucket, be prepared. If you want to learn more about that, go to ISF.com for more. And as always, ISF solving the future. All right, here's Jim Phillips attempting to solve the future of the ACC and its member institutions.
Well, I think I've said this before. I mean, I don't think that like a national breakaway is about to happen because of the transformation committee. I don't see that kind of movement. I hear a lot about Power 5, moving away from everyone else, maybe moving away from some of the deregulation and having more opportunity to do some more things from an autonomy standpoint. But I don't see that happening right now or over the next 5 or 10 years. I just don't. We're binded by several things, including the sport of basketball, which no one wants to disrupt that. And we have a responsibility in the Power 5 to make sure we do our part to create something that's sustainable for everybody, including us, who are the highest resource conferences. But basketball feeds a lot of mouths in college athletics, and a lot of schools depend on that. And it's one of the great tournaments that we have within college athletics. So I don't see a break happening because there's some things that tie us together. I do see maybe some movement within Division I of subdivisional lines or subdivisions where it will allow you to do some more things, and you kind of coalesce around the folks that have the same amount of resources or are doing things at the same level. I think you got to be thoughtful and careful about some of that. Just automatically deregulate everything because you're trying to keep some type of competitive balance and parity in this thing. And I'll just say this. I think it's time for us to look at alternative models for football. Outside of maybe what we have right now. If we're ever going to do something, and I hear about the future of football and taking care of the sport of football, this is the time to do it. This is the time to do it when you're reorganizing a structure like the NCAA. What are you doing with the sport of football? Does it need to be managed separately? Do you need to have a governance structure? Those are questions we should be asking ourselves. And when I say the sport of football, I'm really talking about the 10 FBS conferences in Notre Dame. Those are the conferences that have said we are committed to this type of resourcing. Some do it less, but a minimum of 85 scholarships, and then everybody else decides how much more they want to do, whether it's in their stadium or resources or salaries or those kind of commitments. And that's what I want to do, and I think we're going to do collaboratively. We want to do collaboratively with the other conference commissioners and to just kind of explore what should we do. And we've had some of those conversations already. But I think we need to have more of those conversations as we look at the next 6, 8, 10, 12 months about the sport of football.
So Gene Smith's idea that he floated to Heather Dinich about the CFP taking over governance of FBS football, that resonates with you and is not a non-starter?
I would just say we've had lots of conversations, I think, inside the ACC and outside the ACC of what you just described.
He also noted that Jim Phillips there speaking at the ACC meetings, Amelia Island, our own Ira Schafel there for Warchant.com, talking with Coach Norvell, talking with the commissioner as well. And if you listen to that entire press conference, you'll hear Ira in that. You'll also hear our friend David Hale and others asking and pressing the issue of the revenue gap. And he said about that, some of what you just heard, but also we are trying to address that and close that as often and as quickly as we can. He did throw the caveat out there, just because you spend more money doesn't necessarily mean you perform better. And he cites the fact that the ACC has won more national championships. And of course, he's talking about all sports than any other conference.
Yeah, it ain't football. Yeah.
He's talking about than any other conference in the country in the last year or two, which is all well and good. Obviously he talked about the Florida State's success in winning soccer national championship and talked about track and field and others. But of course, he knew that as he was saying it, almost as he was saying it, that everybody in the room was like, great. Yeah. What are you going to do about football, man? What are you going to do about football? Because that's been the point of emphasis. So he circled back and quickly said, look, that's, even though we've had those successes elsewhere, that's not an excuse to not try and close the revenue gap. I know that we've done a good job in this conference at winning and remaining competitive in those areas, but we know we have to have the money to continue to compete, and that gap cannot grow to tens of millions of dollars annually, and have us expect to compete. I think that he's tackling that head on the best he can. He referenced the ACC, of which he's the commissioner, having meetings with ESPN, who is a 50-50 partner with the ACC. He's pointed that out more than once, and trying to discover ways, whether that is scheduling or whatever it might be, which it's not going to be scheduling, to grow revenue and to shorten the gap. I hope that the gist of those conversations are not about schedules. I would like to believe that that conversation with your 50-50 partner should center around, you need to give us a lot more money. How do we get there? Because this isn't going to work. And since you're invested in this as a 50-50 partner, you should know that it doesn't help you if we continue to slide and go the way of the dodo.
It would be great if they realized that and said, you're released, and we'll take the schools that we like and we move them on to a different classification. But I wonder if that is the existence, and I'm not talking about ESPN breaking the ACC contract necessarily. I'm saying
they would.
Oh, me too. That would be a day. That would be one of the happy.
What a day!
It's
indeed.
libations, whatever day of the week it is, if that's the case.
Yeah.
I just wonder if the CFP, which is what that sounded like David Teal's voice from up in Virginia, if the CFP does govern college football separate, and the NCAA governs every other sport,
right, like swimming and tennis,
right? Does that mean that the CFP could dissolve conference relationships? Probably not.
Probably
the TV contracts are too strong.
Mm-hmm.
But you wonder if that's a door opener. Like the ACC exists under the NCAA as this thing.
Yeah.
And then there's this other league
Swimming,
altogether.
Diving, fencing, tennis.
And it's not without precedent, because there are other sports like beach volleyball or hockey that have different leagues that you've never heard of before.
That's
if you're
right.
a Power 5 football fan, you're like, what's the CCSA or what's the,
right.
There are divisions in the NCAA that are just completely different.
Yeah.
You wonder if they would apply different rules. And we're grasping at straws here, because you're saying that Jim Phillips is doing everything within his power. I agree that he is.
No, I'm sure he is.
But
It's in his best interest to do so.
The scope of his power is so limited that you're not going to get the answers that you want to get without an outside force helping move the scales.
Well, quote, we talked with ESPN at length about some really, I think, high-level opportunities from a sponsorship standpoint to help generate revenue. They're as motivated as we are because we're 50-50 partners. Quote, end quote. I just quoted him directly. So, I mean, you might choose not to believe that. You might say, I don't believe that. I think that the vast majority of fans are jaded to a place where anything that ESPN does, there's pushback, blowback towards. Some of that understandable. Some of it's just nonsense because they're the biggest dog. But
I just don't know that there's anything unique that the ACC can do that other conferences wouldn't jump on. Like, for example, let's just say, because they're hiring a chief revenue officer, like that's what the ACC is doing, somebody who their only job is to find ways to make more money. Okay, whatever. If you throw a brand on a jersey during football season, right? Like maybe that's the deal. ESPN's like, well, what if we sold to corporate partners and then they got to be on the helmet or whatever, or the jersey of the particular teams? Well, then the SEC and the Big Ten is just going to do that the next year. It's not a unique opportunity. Or they throw an ad on the football field. Between the 10 and the 20-yard line, you can find a corporate partner, right, maximize your revenue, and here it is.
Only the ACC has this.
No, yeah, I mean, a year later, there is no unique thing that we can do. Now, we might get a year where there's a head start, but no, there's nothing. That's the limit of what we're talking about.
No, you need to renegotiate the contract and figure out a way where it would make sense for your 50-50 partner to do so. I don't know what that is. You can't magically make the ACC a more attractive conference, I don't think. I mean, as a basketball entity, they always have been probably a number one on that list. There was a brief moment in time where the Big East held that title, but for the most part, the ACC has. And even in years where the ACC is largely dismissed like they were this year, they ended up having the best of all the conferences in college basketball tournament run.
Like, while he's having these conversations, I go back to something that Gene and I kind of sparred about at the end of the roundtable about the votes. I'm looking at the votes. Like, how many votes would it take to get this thing to be disbanded? And if it's a super majority of 2/3, I think that's 9 teams.
Mm-hmm.
If you need 75%,
who do you have to pay off to get there?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, who do you have to pay off? Because I think you can find landing spots in the super conference existence for maybe 8 institutions without a doubt that the ACC has. You can find a super conference home. these other ones, like, okay, who wants $500 million to say yes and vote to this thing? And then you go wherever you go with God. That's what I'm looking at. I'd rather try and find a way to execute an exit
by
clause.
the way, it's funny. The answer changes the more we talk about the super conference and which teams make it and which teams don't. So we now know that, for example, if the Big Ten, if we get back to the days in which teams were being poached and the conferences were changing right before our eyes, well, I say get back to it. It just happened again. The SEC just poached Oklahoma and Texas. So when that was all going on, we thought about the musical chairs game that was going down and, well, who would be invited and why? Like, so would Clemson get invited to the SEC? Well, at that time, we said no, because the SEC had the clause, the understanding, the wink, wink, nod, nod agreement that they wouldn't take teams from the same state of an existing SEC school. So Florida was like, well, Florida State can't get into the SEC because Florida's already in. And obviously, South Carolina's like, no, Clemson can't come in here. We're in the SEC. That's all went away when the SEC grabbed Texas A&M and then Texas, and now has grabbed Oklahoma, right? And so they said, screw your agreement.
Those are more yes votes for Florida State, too, on the other side of the ledger.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm glad that they went ahead and turned their back on the quiet agreement or the understood, unwritten rule of inviting, because maybe we do get an invite someday. But we now know that the Big Ten is desirous of North Carolina. They want to bring North Carolina in. I would think that might be true of, I don't know, Duke as well.
Right. Or Virginia.
Or Virginia.
Right.
Right.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You can get to 8 or 9 pretty quickly if the Big Ten, with the academic standing and what they like to
And you would
preach
also
about.
need to know, I mean, there would have to be a lot of back under the table, back alley
Right.
agreements. Like, okay, now look,
Then
for a moment, it's going to look like you're in the lurch. We're coming for you. We got you.
Right. Then you bring BC, Wake, and Syracuse into a room and
you
say,
shoot him in the back of the head.
well, before you do that, you try this and you say, who wants $500 million first taker? Because we're getting out of this. We're getting out of this. But one of you is walking away with a lot of money. And we wanted to present it to all of you at the same time. Time for aggressive collapsing of the ACC. Good luck. Who's going to raise the hand first?
You just bring in the Iceman. Kuklinski comes in and says, we're done here.
Who's that?
Oh, you never saw the Iceman interviews? They're fantastic. Pull them up on YouTube. You'd love them. Richard Kuklinski. He was a
serial killer?
No, mafia hitman.
Oh,
might
okay.
as well have been a serial killer, but he was a mafia hitman. And he is like 6'6", 300 pounds of pure, soulless devil, kill you, look you right in the eyes.
He's the real Luca Brasi.
Unremorseful. He finally got caught after whacking, I mean, they don't even know how many people. He killed a lot. He had a family, a wife and 2 kids.
And I hope your child is a masculine child.
No, it's Richard Kuklinski. I remember watching that on HBO. Like
maybe he could be our
20 years
chief
ago.
revenue officer.
I think he's dead.
Oh.
But
you had a kid?
Oh, he had 2 kids.
Okay.
But
one
they
of
were
them.
normal. I think they were normal. They were not like no.
Until proven otherwise. That's perfect. It's even better.
Say it louder.
These guys are normal. Please don't close the door.
ISF, we love you. You want to do amazing things? You have big visions and goals for the future and work hard to move your agency forward while navigating the unique challenges inherent in government operations. They at the ISF folks, they understand you. And they've been helping clients just like you solve for the future for 4 decades. Go check them out, ISF.com. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
The Decatur County Sheriff's Office says deputies responded to a disturbance call of a man with a gun and bat on the porch of a home at the Brights Mobile Home Park on Old Wickham Road and Belcher Lane in Bainbridge around 10 p.m. Tuesday. The suspect, identified as Shannon Hall, fired shots at law enforcement when they arrived. Hall continued to shoot and barricaded himself when law enforcement returned fire. Hall was brought into custody the next morning. No injuries have been reported. Bainbridge Public Safety is investigating an accident Wednesday afternoon on Thatcher Road. BPS said the semi-truck was traveling west on the bypass when for an unknown reason, it lost control, causing it to cross the river bridge, taking out the guardrail and plunge into the Flint River. The truck driver was pulled to safety and transported to Tallahassee Memorial Hospital for treatment. Hatcher Road will be temporarily closed while BPS works on removing the truck from the river. Authorities are working to discover the cause of the accident. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MaclemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Mainly clear skies and quiet this afternoon with highs around 87. Northeasterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Slight chance for scattered thunderstorms. Tonight, lows dip down to about 64, partly cloudy skies. Chance for scattered thunderstorms tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 82, a mix of clouds and sun. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 86.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
We need to have history. We need to have literature. It deserves an explanation. We don't need to be promoting lifestyles that come into play for your average elementary school.
Well, I had an experience with this. When my daughter was in school, her teacher gave her a book to read, but then she asked me what the C word is.
That was in the book.
That was in the book.
Okay, so about the C word. So you're talking about conservatives, right?
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. The Jeff Cameron Show is sponsored by the legendary team at Hamilton Home Loans. Great rates, cutting-edge technology, and transparent communication is the recipe for a 5-star mortgage experience at FSUHomeLoans.com.
It should note, colleague of mine, a cohort here at the station, have utilized the services of Chad and Shannon. I have other friends in the industry that have done so as well. And I bring up Chad and Shannon, the legendary team at Hamilton Home Loans, on a regular basis. But I have friends and family that have used their services. So it's just not me reciting talking points, but rather firsthand knowledge of people that have utilized their services at Hamilton Home Loans to get a mortgage. And not only did they get that mortgage, it was obviously a speedy endeavor. It was simplistic, straight to the point. It was not intimidating. Shannon took the opportunity to sit down and talk with them about their great rates. Of course, the cutting edge technology that they utilize. Transparent communication. You're going to want that when you're trying to get a loan in order to buy a home. Chad and Shannon, the legendary team at Hamilton Home Loans, provide just that. If you want to learn more about them and our partnership with them, go to FSUHomeLoans.com. That's FSUHomeLoans.com, or 844-FSU-LOAN. That's 844-FSU-LOAN.
Man, you gave me flashbacks when you said the words talking points. That used to be something I had to do as side work at the very, very, very old place of employment. And it was one of like 10 things that needed to be done on Fridays, and you felt the sweat of it.
Talking points?
Talking points.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
It was somebody's commentary.
Yeah. Hey, as an aside, before we tackle this rather tricky PR question, short and sweet before we get to probables later in the show, if you could leave to go to any conference in the country, where would you go? Would you? Most of a fan base of the Florida State's fan base are going to say the SEC immediately without thinking. They're going to say, I want to join the SEC. The money's great. Also, regionally, we could travel to those games. For it is true that going to games in SEC stadiums has a special appeal. I mean, seeing Florida State and Tennessee in front of 100,000 plus people, Auburn, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, we already do. But, there's a lot. There's a lot there. But would it be the SEC, or would you say something different?
So the answer is the SEC, but I would love if you could create something that had a north-south blend with the Big Ten.
I agree. There's something that I've always thought about.
Like if you could bring Clemson, Miami, Auburn along for the ride in the South, something like that, right? And Alabama too, whatever, LSU. You patch those together, and then you have a North Division in the conference to where you get to go to the Big House or Ohio State or Madison. Like I'd love to pair those together. It's just the Big Ten can't be the answer because I would never want to go to Champaign. I would never want to go to Indiana.
Nobody does want to go to Champaign.
Right. So the SEC is the answer.
Bloomington's fine. I've been to Bloomington. I've been on that campus. It's great.
But like for a football Saturday,
I
no
know.
thanks.
Yeah.
I mean, go to Kinnick every year, no thanks.
Don't want to go to Rutgers. Oh, I'd love to go to Iowa. Absolutely.
Every year?
Oh, sure. That's a great place to see a football game. Awesome fans. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. They're in the West Division, Tom. We probably wouldn't have to play them. We'd be playing people in the East Division.
Yeah.
So Michigan, Ohio State, Michigan State.
But I'd rather find out
Penn State.
Like, okay, what little towns can I stop in? What little towns can I stop in on a drive up to Auburn for a road game weekend or Tuscaloosa?
Not many. Most of the little towns between here and there suck.
I'm sure I could find one or two. I'm sure I could.
Maybe.
We did when we got jabbed.
You didn't want to be there.
Well, it's like that's the place you hold up overnight before you go there on Saturday.
It wasn't that appealing. I mean,
It's not for you. That's fair.
I'm saying you weren't in love with those cities. You found one little joint to have a taco. It was nice, but you didn't want to stay there.
If it's a Friday and that keeps me out of doing a 2 or 3 night minimum in Auburn, like these are the problems I want to go through. I want to learn that instead of, oh, great. There's another trip up to Syracuse this year. Whoop-de-doo. I'm not going to that one.
I would want to go to Madison, Wisconsin and face the Badgers. I'd want to go to Kinnick. I'd like to go Minnesota. Wouldn't you love that? I have a soft spot in my heart for Purdue, and Nebraska's in the Big Ten. Lest we forget.
Yeah, no,
Lincoln's awesome.
I'm good.
You would go and like it. I'm telling you would. Northwestern's in Chicago. Who the hell do I want to go there?
Okay, you tell me what conference I want to go to.
No, you just said the Big Ten. I'm helping
I
aid.
want to go to Nebraska. Good. They're Big 12. Send them back.
Well, they should be in
Restore
the Big 12,
the
but they
order.
are in the Big Ten. This is very much like our trip to Bessemer, where you just out of hand dismissed all of Alabama, and I told you there are several fine cities in Alabama.
Yeah.
And then, much to your surprise, I was right. There were great cities in Alabama.
And then-
I'm not saying I want to live in Alabama. God knows I don't.
But then I evolved to a place where I said, all right, there might be a little town on the way to Auburn if we're in the
But there
SEC.
is
I've
a-
evolved. You taught me a lesson, and I evolved past
Well,
it.
then evolve enough to know that you'd have fun in freaking Lincoln.
Once every 5 years. I don't need to do
Okay,
that.
not every
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
Well, you wouldn't have to do it every year. It'd be every other year, first of all. But yeah, I
Put them in the 5 rotation of the 3-5-5.
I'll tell you where you don't want to go. Sorry ass East Lansing. That place is garbage.
I agree.
But
Yeah.
you've never been.
I know I don't want to go to
been-
East Lansing.
I've been to East Lansing.
Yes, you and others who have gone to school there tell me don't bother. Like,
Right.
Michigan State alum. You're like, nah, nothing,
There is
nothing outstanding.
There's a cool. No, it's nothing outstanding. But there is a very cool bar across the camp from the campus. Matt Millar and I had some drinks at.
But that's what I'm saying is you're driving through the South because you could drive to football games. You don't have to hop on a damn plane.
The SEC is the answer. I agree. But I would like us to remove money from the equation. Then, if money wasn't at hand here, would you say the Big Ten over the SEC?
I'd be part of the
you could avoid the mouth breathers.
I'd be the Four Corners Conference. That's what I call it then. If money's no object, be the Four Corners. So you got LA, you got Oregon, you got the
if
Big
money's
House.
no object, then maybe the Pac-10 would be fun to join.
Yeah. Put Hawaii in our conference. if
Well,
money is
at
no
that
object.
point, yeah, let's have some fun with it. I blew this. I'm gonna have to save this. All right, tomorrow we'll talk about Greg Norman. I didn't save us enough time. I can't save him anyhow. The Jeff Cameron Show PR firm is not going to be able to save me here. But I will tell you that I am going to take great joy in reading the quote that has gotten him in hot water, amongst all the other dumbass things he's done in his
It's
life.
almost like he thinks he can save the dead journalist the way he's talking about
But
it.
it's
too. He's
hilarious.
like, oh, we can bring him back.
Oh,
That's no
Khashoggi,
problem.
beheaded. Hey, what are you gonna do?
There you go, Mike.
It's crazy the
Sorry
way he
about
talks
that.
about it.
Let me
Yeah,
dust you off.
Sorry about that. Yeah,
Can't dust off
Put your
acid,
head back
dude.
on here. This is a toughie. Goodness gracious. All right, we'll come back, wrap it up. We'll get to problems momentarily. Jeff Cameron, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Sellers Tile does it better for business owners, contractors, designers, and homeowners. Better design ideas, better quality tile, carpet, and hardwood flooring, better mosaics, ceramic, and vinyl solutions. And Sellers makes it easier with their amazing showroom and first-class professionals. Maybe it's time to get Sellers working for you on Capitol Circle Northeast, just north of Mahan Drive, or online at sellerstile.com for better style, quality, and design. Go with Sellers in Tallahassee. Call 656-8453.
You were always more than my mom. You were my role model, my best friend, and biggest supporter. You filled my days with unconditional love. And you also prepared for the day when you couldn't be here. Because of the woman you were back then, I'm able to be the woman I am now. Your planning made this moment possible.
Set your family up for life. Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance. Your friends for life.
This is Andy Cohen. When I was a law enforcement officer, I devoted my life to a career of service and protection. Who's protecting you? Give me a call. 850-671-FARM. That's 671-FARM. Helping you is what we do best.
Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi. Not licensed to do business in all 50 states.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Springfest is happening at Lowe's, where you'll find everything you need this season, like premium mulch for our new low price of $2.98 a bag. And the spring savings don't stop there. With select Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables, 4 for $10. Shop Lowe's right now for everything Springfest has to offer. Lowe's, home to any budget, home to any possibility. Bonnie offer in-store only. Plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last. Valid 4/21 through 4/27. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Does she know anything about French cuisine?
I can ask. I never requested at the house, so what are you looking for? A cordon bleu recipe?
No, I got to make something French over the weekend for my son's French class because he didn't do it, so I got to help him out with it and trying to figure it out.
I had to go to the Hobby Lobby.
Yeah. I wish more people knew that story. Like, I could make like a French dip onion soup, I guess, but I don't want to do that.
She makes pretty good French onion soup, according to her, and I trust that.
Okay. Well,
you want a recipe for that? I'd
Uh,
say commission her to do it, but we're going to be out of town, so I can't help you.
maybe we should make crepes. Those are French. Crepes are delicious.
Crepe?
Yeah. How about potatoes au gratin?
What now?
Potatoes au gratin. That's French.
Au gratin? That's a guess.
A
I don't know.
souffle, an easy chocolate souffle.
Softly?
Souffle. baked brie and puff pastry. Oh, maybe.
I don't know. I mean, I think
Cook of it.
I could get you the French onion soup if you need that. I could ask her though. She is incredible. She's a whiz.
I think we should. I just looked this one up. Croquet marin, which is sandwich layers of thinly sliced ham, melted cheese. Oh, look at this thing. This thing looks good. You put an egg on there too.
So it's a ham and cheese with egg.
With
All
some
right.
eggs. And it's a different kind of cheese.
Sounds American to me.
It's not. It's French.
Something you get at Hardee's.
Lyonnaise potatoes. Ratatouille. All right, it's time for probables. Here we go. Fire it up, sir.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
Brought to you by North Florida Payroll Services, locally owned for nearly 15 years, offering payroll and HR services, including full online applicant onboarding and integration into payroll. Save your company money and headaches today. Hey! At northfloridapayroll.com. Maybe I'll get that. Maybe macarons. Maybe an apple tart. That'd be good. Fricassee.
Is there a French baseball league? Because we should do probables with French pitchers. That would be amazing.
The tarte tete.
What?
Mets Nats. It's 3-0 Mets in the
Yeah,
sixth.
all
You
right.
guys got your ass kicked last night.
We did. Scored 3 in the first, and then with Tyler McGill, traded 8 runs for 4 outs.
Thanks for that.
Thanks for playing.
Grand opening, grand closing. That's Tawan Walker and Joan Adone. A's Tigers. James Caprillion. Bo Brisky. Tough names today. 3-2. Oakland leads Detroit. Minnesota is getting pounced on by Houston 11-3. Goodness gracious.
That's the server in the brisket restaurant who says it weird. Would you like some brisket?
Jose Urquidy, Chris Archer. Oh, no wonder the Twins are getting killed. Chris Archer started. Baltimore St. Louis. That is a 1-0 Baltimore lead. Good. Let's go O's. It's in a 6. Brian Baker. You keep kicking ass, Brian. Steven Matz on the hill for the Cards. Second game of a doubleheader. Astros Twins. Luis Garcia, Josh Winder. Reds Pirates. Connor Overton and JT Brubaker. Who sucks? Royals Rangers. Jonathan Heasley and Taylor Hearn. Yankees White Sox. Luis Gill and Dylan Cease. And finally Phillies Dodgers late night. Zach Wheeler, Tyler Anderson. And that is a look at those that shall resound on the bone. There will be a WBC in 2023 and 2026. It has been committed to, Tom. You're gonna go with me down to Miami, and we are gonna have a blast.
All expenses paid. Let's do
You're
it.
gonna love the WBC. We got to get our second title.
Well, I want to go to Los Tacos.
Oh,
I've yet to go. So
Heaven on earth.
I'll go for that with a side of baseball. Los Tacos with a side of baseball.
Yeah, it'll be good times. I have gotten lost at Los Tacos. I have been there, eaten too much, one too many margaritas. It's within walking distance of my friend's house, so I don't have to worry about anything.
Just to make sure you stay on the sidewalk. That's it.
Well, and there's back roads. You really have no problems. 0 problems. You're walking through a neighborhood to get to this place.
Oh, nice.
It's
All right.
awesome. It's heaven.
And they made it through, clearly. They made it through the
The Los
pandemic.
Tacos is alive and kicking, doing very, very well. They're like, people point out a million things in Miami that they like. That's the thing I circle. I'm like, man, if we only had a Los Tacos.
I'm sure we have something.
No, we
akin
don't.
to
No, nothing.
You've yet to
I've
find
had
anything
tacos
close?
everywhere around here. I love tacos. They're delicious. Who doesn't love tacos? I've had every taco. There was one place and they closed down. That place over there off of Ocala Road next to the old rundown, now closed Winn-Dixie. The hell was the name of that place? It was fantastic.
I forget, but that was run by the people who ran La Fiesta, which
I
also
love those
pour
people.
one out for the La Fiesta as well.
Yeah, man.
That one hurt.
That one hurt bad. But the place that closed, that was in the rundown shopping center in Winn-Dixie, there's a Winn-Dixie, you're dead. Anytime there's a Winn-Dixie,
It's not even a Winn-Dixie anymore.
You're like, well, let's say, where are we going to be operating? Next to a Winn-Dixie? Well, we're closing down. We got no shot.
Man, that was my corner back in the day. 06, 07,
I've
that
never
place
gone
was...
into a nice Winn-Dixie. It pisses me off. Every time I walk in, I'm like, look at this Look at this dirt everywhere.
But what savings? Unbelievable savings.
They save it on no floor cleaner.
That's because they don't put together a $5 million Thanksgiving ad. That's where they pass the savings on to you, the consumer.
The point would be, Tom, that the World Baseball Classic, which we'll go to next year, we won the last title. We are defending champions. The United States.
America
won the last one.
Oh, there you go.
Japan has 2 titles, so we get a chance to even it up. Let's even it up. Good work out of you. Good work, Matthew. Be well, everybody. Have a great night. We'll talk to you tomorrow.